Welcome back to Lamp Oil Stock. Today we want to take a few more moments, talk about some of the stuff we saw this week. We keep an eye out on a lot of the big teachers in the Hebrew Israelite community and just some of the stuff we just really needed to react to.
So I'd like to start off before I jump in, or before we jump in and say what we have to say, with the Bible verse. And it says, 1 John 4 and 1, Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Now I want to start there, but I don't want to say that I am calling these leaders false prophets. I have an issue with some of the things that Nathaniel and Elder Racha are saying. So I wanted to talk about that, but I don't want it to be this, oh, I'm just tearing these people down. But they have been doing things the way they run their camps, and it has been bothering me for a while. And I haven't said what I've wanted to say because I've been trying to give them time. Time for people in their camps to correct them or to say something to them, or time for them to grow and understand the things that they're doing and change them. But today, I feel like time is running out and it's short. And the people around them aren't doing their part in order to help these leaders in their growth with the Most High. So this says to judge every spirit. So as we talk about them, I want you to judge their spirits, not how you feel about them, but actually judge what we're talking about. And at the same time, you need to judge ours too. So we ask that you pray about it, but before you just react.
Okay, well, let's start off talking about the GOCC. All right. Um, and my issue is not actually the teaching itself. I think a lot of the teaching that Elder Rothschild is putting out is some pretty good stuff. I think it's very good stuff. So just to start off with, we're not against the GOCC. I'm not simply sitting here saying, oh, they're bad, or I'm not. That's not the point. That's not the issue to me. The issue to me is the need for money and how it. Not, well, let me put it this way. I'll give you an example. He'll start off a broadcast. It'll be a 3-hour broadcast.
He loves those 3 and 4 hour
Well,
broadcasts.
look, he got a lot to say. He do a 3-hour broadcast, but the first 30 minutes of this 3-hour broadcast is an ad to get you to join the Bible Academy, which might be great stuff. It might be, but it's an ad. You're going to sit through 30 minutes of an advertisement, and that's all it is. It's just an ad. Oh, let me tell you how we're going to put this stuff in the Bible Academy. Oh, it's all going to be in the Bible Academy. Guess what? It's going to be in the Bible Academy. Then, then why don't you just save the 3 hours and give me the Bible Academy?
Not only that, after you get past all of these ads for send me money for this or do this or whatever, you start listening to what he's talking about. And in the middle of that, he will say, oh, well, I will tell you more in the Bible Academy. Or you can learn more about this in the Bible Academy. Or we're going to talk about this and it's going to be a really good lesson in the Bible Academy. So, now he's got the Bible Academy and Patreon. So if you want to hear about this, go to Patreon. Buy a Patreon member. I don't know how Patreon works, but anyway, I know that you got to pay some money in order to deal with it. So now he's added a new thing, and I have a big issue with that because God says what he's given to you freely, you should freely give. And if he is a prophet sent by the Most High and he's getting this information, then he's getting it freely from the Most High. Therefore, he should give it to those who want it freely.
You know, in Corinthians, it talks about um, apostles who charge money. Well, the way that it's worked, it's these ministers that have come to Corinthians. Now, in this particular example, they've got several things kind of going on against them. All right, and I'm not trying to say that the GOCC is like that, but the issue is Paul addresses them, and I want to say it's Paul addresses them and says, you know, when Paul came, he didn't charge them money. You know, he was given the truth of the gospel, and he's giving it out freely. And he has his own job, and he's doing his own thing to explain what's going on. And he specifically says, you know, did I rob the churches? Did I do that? No. And so Paul is, to me, is clear that he's giving the perception that it's not about money. It is about the word itself and getting that word out. And he uses that example of these ministers that come and they charge money. And that to me is an issue. And I'm not saying that you don't need money. You know, Paul does say in that same letter that the churches, that a church in Mycenae supplied him and kept him going. Now, so but that seems to be like an offering, not like charging a particular church, charging its members money.
That's right. And I don't have a problem with a church saying, hey, you know, we're a church, and those of you who can help me. I also believe that if God wants this church to thrive or go on or do these things, God is going to provide people to provide the money that church needs. So there is no reason for someone who's saying that they are sent of God to force me to pay them money in order to get the message that God has. That makes no sense. The next issue that I have with Elder Raja is the fact that he is constantly grooming and manicuring his beard. The Bible says that you should not mar the corners of your beard, and yet he has this very little short beard thing that you can barely see. He is way too into his looks. The Bible, from my reading, if you read through it, it makes it seem as if the length of a man's beard is a status symbol or shows how much wisdom that man has. And yet, Elder Raja freely cuts his down all the time. So it really makes me question his wisdom when something so simple as allowing your beard to grow. Now, I know that he has his reasons, but everybody has reasons. Everybody has reasons why they don't follow what they're supposed to follow. And no matter what that reason is, if he can get that beard, that little bitty patch on the bottom to grow, it could be long. It could be down to his belly if he would stop cutting it, but he doesn't. So I have a real issue with that. It makes me wonder, what is more important to him? Is the Most High, or is it how people look at him? And that is a very huge issue when you're saying that he is the leader, because they are supposed to be held at a higher standard than the people they are teaching. And when his second, Elder Lawyer's beard, far outreaches his, I'm going to have to say Elder Lawyer is the more wise, therefore should probably be teaching.
Now, and like we said at the beginning, I'm not saying that the church itself is wrong. The things that they're teaching is just 100% wrong. I'm not saying that. These are just issues, things that need to be addressed. If it has been addressed, I missed it. I mean, maybe somewhere he laid all this out, but I know I ain't seen it.
I know we did a video a few years ago that says buy the truth, don't sell it. So I listened to both of these groups because I think that they both bring out some good information. But what I do is I take the things that I think are good, because the truth is the truth. And the things that I don't agree with, I just leave them where they are.
Well, you got to use discernment. That's it. You got to prove everything in the Bible.
I know that these groups don't like that, because Elder Rothschild, he gave a story about how he was in this group and they were evil according to them, but he stuck with that group. He stuck with them and stuck with them and stuck with them, because he wasn't going to go from teacher to teacher, and that's what you need to do. You just need to stick with that leader. Eventually, they kicked him out of the group, and so later on, he ends up preaching for himself and starting the GOCC. And from that story, he tells me that I shouldn't be listening to any other leader, any other teacher. And what I got from that story was, no, you should have realized that that leader was wrong and left on your own. You shouldn't stay and follow someone who's leading in the wrong direction. That's not wisdom, but that could be why his beard is so short. So moving on to the IUIC.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's take a moment, and this is about the IUIC. Let's talk about last week.
Okay.
Last week, Shout Out Tuesday.
All
right.
Yeah, I only watched a few minutes of it because I could not deal.
Well, I watched the whole thing. I mean, I made it through the entire thing, and the particular person he was going to talk about was Cleflo Dollar.
Right.
All right, but the problem that I have was he played the Cleflo Dollar clip, and he didn't actually talk about Cleflo at all. Well, I mean, maybe for about 6 seconds he talks about Cleflo. The entire rest of the clip is about black women, and the way that he did it, the way that he talked about black women was very, let's say, general. It was very universal. And instead of saying black women in the church, and I know that's what he was trying to do. I have to assume that's what he was trying to do. He just talked about black women in general, and not just black women in the church. He made it sound like he was just downing women.
My issue with Nathaniel and the IUIC in general is they make a huge separation or division of our people in the fact that he's splitting the man and the woman apart, because he's saying the woman, he's constantly putting down women and telling them that they, really are useless unless they're in a bedroom or in a kitchen. That seems to be the overall idea. They will say, oh yeah, there's a holder out there somewhere, but we don't know them. And so they're constantly putting down women and separating them, and they're using that as a way to bring a man up. Now, it goes against the Bible. The Bible says, one, that a woman was made to be a helpmeet, not a slave. There's plenty of times in the Bible where you see slavery or bondmen or bondwomen, and the wife was never meant or spoken about anywhere in the Bible as that. A helpmeet, that's someone that is helping the man. The weaker vessel, true, we are the weaker vessel, but that does not mean that we are weak or that we should be treated as if we are second-class citizens.
Now, let me address something that I hear the IUIC use on a regular basis. In 1 Timothy 2, verse number 11, 2 Timothy 2, verse 11. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection. Now, that verse is there, okay? That verse is actually there. That is the verse that is used on a regular basis. But if you read the entire chapter right there, the entire section, all right, he is talking about women in the church of in the church of Corinth. I believe that is where this one's taking place. He's talking about these women in this particular church, which have fallen sway to false teachers, and they're now teaching false doctrine. Okay, and this letter is to Timothy, telling him how to deal with these women doing these things. This is not just random teaching saying that all women should be. That is not what this letter is about. Just start at the beginning of the letter and read the whole way through it. He is literally telling Timothy how to deal with a church that is broken.
So I feel like he has an issue with women, and so he is finding anything. They find any little bitty thing that says something negative about a woman in order to say that women should have no thought whatsoever. But I am the woman of this house, and my input and my thoughts help my husband to be better. And that is the job of the woman. So when you are constantly teaching these men that they can talk down on or talk bad about women, now we're not talking about evil women, but I'm also not talking about evil men. There are evil women and there are evil men. That is a separate category. I'm talking about men who are trying to be righteous, women who are trying to be righteous, that are living these lives. And they should be respected as women of God or men of God. I know the Most High loves me. And because I know he loves me, I know that he does not want me treated as if I'm a second-class citizen. So these women out here that are listening to them, I feel sorry for them. Because, one, they aren't doing the job that the Most High had them here to do. It says an evil man has an evil wife. So if these men are not evil, then their wives are not evil. Therefore, they should be working together.
And see, that's the whole point. It is a family relationship in the family itself and with the church itself, which is the Most High's family. We're all supposed to be working together and striving to be better. We're not supposed to be tearing one member down or something to that effect. And that was something we wanted to make sure that we were trying to make clear here. I'm not trying to tear down the IUIC or the GOCC. That's not the point. But this is an issue. The way that they treat women, that's just something that they've got to address that.
We're not trying to tear down either group. The Most High is going to do what the Most High does. I know that we are the nation of Israel, and we are not a camp. We are a group of people who need to be united, not united in a camp. So, if these leaders, because my final issue is the fact that these leaders have not come together with all the other leaders and sat down in an open forum and brought all of us together under the banner of the Most High. And so maybe they don't have that spirit. Maybe they don't have the right spirit. Maybe they only want what's good for them and not necessarily what's good for everyone else. But these are questions that you who listen to them or follow them need to be asking yourself. Are they really trying to lead the nation of Israel to the Most High? Or are they trying to have people follow them where they're going?